So I've put together a plan for my content marketing strategy in 2023 and I wanted to share it all with you today. I'm going to be sharing what platforms I'm using, my goals for each of those platforms, what topics I plan to be covering on those platforms, plus how I actually plan to create all of this content too. I should say as well that this is my own content plan. It is definitely not a suggestion for everyone to do. It's based on my goals, what I enjoy making, what's right for my audience, and how much time I actually have myself as well. So in terms of what I did last year, I covered that a little bit in last week's video. That was my 2022 year in review. Go and check that out if you haven't seen it already. So let's dive into my plan for 2023. Starting with my long form content strategy. And what I mean by that is all of the content platforms that I use where I create longer form content, not just Instagram posts or quick TikTok videos. These are in-depth pieces of content. And for me, those are YouTube videos, podcast episodes, blog posts, and email newsletters. I'm also going to point out that I have been running my business and creating content for my business for nearly 8 years now. So definitely if you are more kind of starting out in your business, don't expect to be creating long form content for all of the same platforms that I am. Again, this is just what works for me, my business, my goals, and I also have been slowly building those platforms over the last few years as well. And I'm used to them, which is how I'm able to do so many at once. So for my long form content, let's start out with my YouTube strategy. I've been doing YouTube for about 2 to 3 years now and I absolutely love it. It's probably my favorite platform to create content for. I've always really loved video editing and creating videos. So it feels like this one I probably just tend to personally prioritize, but it definitely has been having a positive effect on my business. For starters, with YouTube, you can earn ad revenue and I have been doing that for the last year and a half or so, which is a great source of passive or residual income. Definitely not passive because obviously I take a lot of time and effort creating the YouTube videos and it's not guaranteed that every single one is going to earn me a revenue, but it is a nice residual income to have. So that's one of my top goals with this platform, is to make sure that I'm still bringing in ad revenue from this. The other goal I have is to increase my overall affiliate income. I tend to find that my content where I am sharing about products and softwares and tools that I love as a business owner and sharing my affiliate links with that again is helping me create this passive or residual income into my business, which is one of my overall annual goals. In terms of the topics that I'm planning to share on YouTube, I'm going to be sharing more tutorials and practical tips to help with the kind of affiliate income side. I'm going to be sharing more day in the life, planning, productivity style videos, which helps with my watch time, and also other business tips which are going to be repurposed from my podcast episodes as well. My plan is to aim to keep uploading 1 video per week. Realistically, that is all I can do, but I will be focusing on making sure that each of those 1 videos per week is really, really high quality. Then we move on to my podcast, which, by the way, is called the Freelance Fix podcast. You can check it out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I'm about to hit my 100th episode on there, so there is loads of content for you to catch up on if you haven't checked that out already. So previously, I had been uploading 1 episode per week for kind of a 6-week stint or a 4-week stint, and then having a 1 or 2 week break in between, and that was the best way that I could manage it. What I'm thinking now is moving to a bi-weekly schedule instead. So by that I mean posting 1 episode every other week. And again, this is just reflective of the time that I personally have to put these episodes together, and I'm just going to be making sure that every episode is really high quality. And this is because my goal with my podcast isn't to make ad revenue, it's not to make affiliate income directly, it's not even to grow my reach and grow my audience. My focus for my podcast is to connect and build a deeper relationship with my existing audience. I don't have a huge listenership on my podcast, but those that do listen will tune in every single week and they feel like they get to know me, and I think that's really valuable when you want to focus on building an audience that's really engaged and has a deeper connection with you. And in terms of the topics, so far my format I've been doing is having people ask me questions and then me cover that in kind of bite-sized tips, and I'd like to still stick with that format, and it's mainly kind of theory-based and strategy-based for things like business and marketing and stuff like that. Then we have my blog. Now I have kind of let that slip in the last kind of year or so. I find blog writing a lot more energy draining than creating video content, but I still want to aim for posting around 1 to 2 per month. And my goal with my blog posts is really to make them extremely search engine optimized so that people find them when they're searching for things on Google, click onto the blog post, and then they're on my website and they're able to sign up for my email list for more content or do various things on my site. So in terms of the content on there, I really want to focus on making it super optimized for Google, focusing on particularly topics to do with Squarespace, which is the website design platform that I use for my clients, and also for things like my affiliate income tools and software. Then my final piece of long form content that I put out is my email newsletter. Now my goal with my email newsletter kind of depends on what content I'm putting out. So my weekly email newsletter called the Coffee Letters goes out every week, and the goal of that is to really just nurture again my connection with my existing audience. They want to hear from me. They use it as a way to be updated about any blog posts or YouTube videos or podcast episodes that I've released that week as well. However, at certain times of year, if I am launching a new course or I have a particular campaign that I want to encourage people to sign up for a new product or a new service, then I will be using my email newsletter primarily to get sales. I also use email marketing to create automated sales funnels as well, and I have a whole free masterclass that you can watch telling you how you can do that. I'll leave a link for that in the description. But yeah, email marketing is not just about sending out weekly emails, it's also about building sales funnels and automations that run in the background to help you make sales. Then we move on to my short form content, and this is more of the kind of platforms where the content you create for it doesn't take you as long and people can consume it in a very quick time period. So for example, mine are TikTok, Instagram posts, Instagram Reels, Instagram Stories. I count those all as kind of almost like separate platforms because they've got slightly separate goals and different topics that I share in each of those. And also Pinterest is my other one. So TikTok I have been using for a few years but not really taking it seriously, and this year I really want to give it a fair crack and see whether my audience on there actually responds and I can actually get something back from it. I listened to a really interesting podcast episode by Pat Flynn the other day. He did a 30-day TikTok challenge where he posted a video once every day, and he kind of shared his findings and results, and I found it really interesting what he said about making sure that TikTok gives back to you as much, if not more, than it takes away from you in terms of getting you addicted to it and the content that you consume. I personally have TikTok and I use it way too much per day. And my excuse for that is, oh, well, I need the app because I'm going to be posting my own content on there. But is it worth the fact that it's taking away 2 hours of my time every day? I'm not sure yet. So I really want to give this a fair crack of a strategy. My target is to be posting 3 videos on TikTok per week, and my overall goal is really to focus on audience growth. I don't see TikTok as a way to necessarily nurture an existing audience. There's not so much of a sense of community on there, at least for me and my account. It's more of a way for me to reach new people, new audiences, have them follow me, and then hopefully click on the link in my bio and connect with me on some of the other platforms that I use. In terms of what content I'm planning to share on TikTok, what I've been doing a lot of recently, which has been really helpful, is repurposing my YouTube videos. So creating little snippets from each video and sharing those as TikTok videos. They don't get loads of engagement, but it definitely does help with a little bit of reach on that platform. The other thing that I'm planning to do is doing more kind of day in the life, plan with me, voiceover type videos and bite-sized tips, and also of course using the audio trends on there to try and get more reach as well. So I'll let you know how that goes. So far I haven't really seen many results from TikTok, but I do feel like I just haven't really been focusing on it as much as I could be. So we'll see. So then we come to Instagram, and as I said, I kind of like to split Instagram up into 3 areas. The first is Instagram posts. So what I mean by that is just static, like graphics posts, images, carousels. That's kind of one area for me, and my goal with them would be to connect with my existing audience and a little bit of audience reach as well. But typically I don't find that my static posts and my carousel posts get a loads of new people seeing the content. It's just a good way for me to connect and engage with my existing audience on there. And in terms of the content, I'm going to be sharing tips that have probably been repurposed or taken from that week's long form piece of content. So that YouTube video that I've shared, that podcast episode, or that blog post, for example. And my target is going to be kind of 1 to 2 posts per week. I don't see a huge load of results from these, so I'm not going to put in too much time and effort into that. When it comes to Instagram Reels, this is slightly different. So my goal for this is mainly audience reach. I tend to find Reels bring in more people rather than just engaging with the existing ones. So that's really important. And I'm going to be sharing lots more day in the life, productivity, what it's like running a business style content. And what's interesting is I hear a lot of people saying to repurpose TikToks onto Instagram Reels, and that can obviously save you a lot of time. I've personally found that the look and feel of short form video on Instagram Reels versus TikTok looks very different and performs very differently. So while on TikTok you can kind of create quite raw content with you speaking to the camera and just having the weird fonts overlaid onto it that aren't very on brand, and that seems to perform quite well. If you then share those to Instagram, they don't tend to do as well, and I always find that when I'm scrolling through Instagram Reels myself, they look very kind of aesthetic. Like they're very much refined imagery and really nice clear videos with maybe a little bit of an aesthetic font overlaid on the top or something like that. So I'm not planning on repurposing TikToks to Instagram Reels. However, some Instagram Reels could be repurposed to TikTok if they are relevant and if I think they're going to work for the platform. And I'm planning to do 1 to 2 Instagram Reels per week. Then we have Instagram Stories, which are my favorite pieces of content to create on Instagram. Typically, a goal for a business on Instagram Stories shouldn't really be to increase reach. There's no real way to do that with stories, but definitely it's important for deepening your connection with your existing audience. And the content for this is going to look like kind of day in the life and tips and things that I'm working on. And whilst posting on stories every single day is ideal, sometimes that just isn't possible. So my aim is to do that kind of 3 days minimum. And then my final platform for short form content is Pinterest. Pinterest as a platform changes a lot, and definitely my strategy with my Pinterest marketing has changed quite a lot over the last kind of year and a half as well. My goal typically with Pinterest is to increase my audience reach, so get people seeing my pins, get people clicking on the links and then going over to my YouTube channel or my blog posts or my podcast episodes and connecting with me more on those platforms. And ideally I want to be posting at least 1 pin a day, whether that is a static pin or an idea pin. There are a few different types, and largely I do like to repurpose my TikToks to idea pins. That tends to work really well, creating new idea pins or repurposed ones from my Instagram carousel posts, and also creating different graphic templates for pins which will then link to my long form pieces of content as well. So that does sound like a lot of content, and how do I actually plan to create all of this? One of my best tips is to batch create. So I dedicate an entire day of my week every single week to creating content. That is Friday, that is my content creation day. I don't do any client work then. It's purely focused on creating content. Also doing things like repurposing, as I have been talking about before. So for example, I can turn my YouTube videos into video snippets for TikTok, which then get repurposed into idea pins. The audio can then be shared as a podcast episode. In terms of my Instagram carousel posts, those can also be repurposed and shared as idea pins on Pinterest. And the other thing that really helps is obviously planning ahead and knowing what content topics you're going to be posting on what days. Now, I do this in a content plan on Trello, and if you would like to create one that looks like this, I share exactly how I do this in my content planning masterclass. It's a free masterclass that you can sign up for on my website. I'll leave a link in the video description, and it basically talks you through how to create a content bank of ideas, plus this 30-day content calendar where you can manage all of your content platforms at once. It helps me to stay super organized, so go and check that out if you haven't already. I hope you found this interesting, and if you've been enjoying this kind of plan with me video series, please do let me know. Leave this video a thumbs up, or go ahead and leave a comment and let me know what you think about this type of content. I would love to hear from you, and I will see you again next week with another video. Thanks so much for watching.